Hi, I'm Marnie Fields and I'm the food artisan. And on this episode, we're going to be baking some wild Alaskan halibut in parchment paper. I love using parchment because once you layer on all of the ingredients you want on the fish and wrap up the parchment into a package and bake it, it's going to be infusing and imparting all of those flavors into the fish. We're going to be topping that today with a champagne vinaigrette reduction sauce that I actually created by accident. So I think you're going to really enjoy this sauce. It was the best accident that could have ever happened in my book. So when we get to plating it, the fish is white and the butter sauce is like an off-white. So we're going to be using some edible flowers to give it the color that it needs for plating. And as always, I can't wait to see what your inner artisan comes up with and how creative you get with your plating. So let's get started on the halibut. I just got back from the market and I picked up some fresh Alaskan halibut, and we're going to dress it all up for dinner tonight and wrap it in some parchment paper. So to begin, I'm going to start out by drizzling the halibut with some lemon olive oil. And I'm just going to drizzle the top. I love this lemon olive oil. Then I'm going to place some fresh thyme on the top. Leave it on the stem as always because the stem is full of so much flavor. And then I'm going to put on some lavender. Just a little lavender goes a long way. So I'm just going to put a little bit of lavender on there. And then we need some salt. Put some salt. And I'm going to add some pepper. Just a little bit of pepper. Okay, and now we are ready to wrap up our halibut in the parchment. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight. And that olive oil is going to kind of help seal it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of do some quick folds, some tiny folds like this. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure it's nice and tight. And I'm going to flip it over a little bit. Okay, perfect. That is nice and tight. And now we're ready to place it in a 400-degree oven for about 18 to 20 minutes. All right, so our next step is going to be creating our champagne vinegar reduction sauce. The best mistake I've ever made, and I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to start out with some champagne vinegar, and I'm going to pour it into my hot pot here on the stove. See how hot that is? I'm pouring about a cup of that, and I'm going to let that reduce all the way down. Once it's reduced down, and I'll show you what that looks like once it reduces, then we're going to start adding our butter and whisking in our butter, and it's going to be amazing. Then we're going to add some lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice, and that is going to be our sauce. And by that time, our halibut should be out of the oven, and then we're going to drizzle that over the top of our fresh Alaskan halibut. It's going to be fantastic. All right, it's already starting to reduce. It's going to take a while. It'll probably take at least 3 to 4 minutes for it to reduce down. But make sure that you kind of keep an eye on it, because all of a sudden you don't want it to reduce down to the point where it almost disappears and it gets really sticky at the bottom of your pan. So just kind of keep an eye on it here, and I'll let you know what it's going to look like before we start whisking in our butter. Okay, so this is reduced down to about 1/3, and I'm going to start adding my butter. And I'm going to just add it one slice at a time, and I'm going to start whisking that in. See how that's reduced down? I'm going to add another one, and we are going to pick up all of that reduction in here. And that champagne vinaigrette just reduced down to just this beautiful, beautiful golden color. And now with the butter, it's going to be delicious on top of our fish. Now I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice. Just a little bit. All right. Just a little bit more butter. And the last one. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to turn our pot off. All right, so it's time for my favorite part. We're going to plate this dish. I already have the Alaskan halibut already on the plate, and I did some roasted rainbow carrots that I also added for our side. And now all I have to do is drizzle the top of the halibut with our champagne reduction sauce and then finish off the plating. So I'm going to start by adding some of our reduction sauce on the halibut. That is going to be delicious. And then I've got some chives on the plate, so I'm going to finish those off with some edible flowers right here at the base. Just kind of flip them out and get that color. Oh, those are pretty. I love that magenta color. Those are pretty. Of course, our halibut is white, so we're going to add some color there too. So we've got some more edible colors. Look at all these edible flowers and colors. And we're going to top the rest of the halibut. It looks beautiful. Some off to the side. There we go. All right, and that finishes off our beautiful plating of fresh Alaskan halibut with a champagne reduction sauce. That was an accident. Best one I've ever had. Thank you so much for joining this episode of The Food Artisan. I'd love to see what you do with your inner artisan when plating this dish. So please follow me on Instagram to do that at Marnie Fields, The Food Artisan. And also please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Food Artisan.